Hello there. Today we're going to look into tool panel in software called Photopea. Photopea is considered a free alternative to Adobe Photoshop. You can run it completely free with ads through the website. So I'm here on photopea.com. Our tool panel is on the left here, so let's not waste any time for intros and just dive into it. The very first tool at the top of the list, that's your move tool. Keep in mind, some tools come with just like a little triangle thing, little arrow at the corner. Usually you can click and hold on them to see another tool below. So the move tool itself, as the name say, allows us to move objects. So be sure you're on the correct layer, then you'll be able to move your object around. You can also do some basic transformations. So I can squash this object like that. Let's undo. I can do some rotation to it, and all of the basic stuff. If you cannot see this transform box around your object, simply turn on the transform controls over here at the top. That's our move tool. And under the move tool is artboard tool. This will allow you to insert additional artboard, so you can draw additional page in your design. This way you can have more than one artboard. It's perfect for creating multi-page documents, so you can have a front of your business card and then the back of your business card in just one document. You can export them as PDF and every artboard will be a separate page. Alright, so that's hidden below your move tool. Next tool on the list, that's a rectangular selection and elliptic selection. So that's really basic stuff. By the way, if you create a selection and you don't want it anymore, you can press Command D or Control D to deselect. You can also use the deselect from the selection menu at the top. Deselect is important to deselect unwanted selections. Below that, more selection tools like lasso that will follow your mouse and make selection as the shape as you draw your mouse. There's also a variation of this lasso, polygonal lasso, perfect for squarish objects. And then there's lasso that got some magnetic features, so this will try to stick itself to contrast. So take a look. This lasso is sticking itself to the contrast colors between the skin and the backdrop, so it's kind of try to help you out to select your object precisely. It's not perfect, but it's definitely something to consider. Alright, what next? There is another selection option for us called Magic Wand. If you click, it will select similar colors in that area. Keep in mind, you can set it up in 4 different modes: replace, unite, subtract, and intersect. And this may, by default, in the unite option, will keep adding to that color, so we kind of expanding this. We are not replacing the original selection. And now we select too much. If I change my mode to subtract, I can take it away from selection. All right, so that's our magic wand. Very similar to all of the other software, simply selecting similar looking pixels in the area. Quick selection. In this case, we got a bit more control because we can move the cursor and keep adding to the selection, as you can see. So that's nice. What else? There's also object selection, and that's a smart tool, so we can draw this and be sure this middle of it pointing at the object you want to select, and it will try to select the object for you. It's not ideal, but you can try it when you got a strong contrast and simple backdrop. All right, so all of that, starting from rectangular selection, lasso, and magic wand, all of that is for selecting certain pixels in our work. What if you want to crop the whole image? That's the next tool on the list, crop tool. When you activate the crop tool, the image will dim down, and then you can simply push those nodes to create the new size for the image. You need to confirm that. So you need to click OK to confirm the new size. All right, let me just crop it one more time. Make it even smaller. So I'm cropping out all of the wide areas. Nice. And now I will use crop tool once more. This time I will turn on content aware. And that's really cool feature. Take a look. Now this time I try to extend the backdrop. With content aware on. Alright, the program generates extra backdrop for me. Keep in mind, it's not perfect. As you can see, it's duplicate this very same stain, but it's really cool feature. Let's undo Command minus on Mac, Command Z on Mac, Control Z on Windows. Let's do it again without this content aware on. Then you simply got the white area. So keep in mind, if you want to extend the backdrop, you can do it from the crop. Crop is not only to make the area smaller, we can also extend the area, make it bigger. So that's really handy. Alright, that's enough about crop tool. What's next on the list? We got eyedropper, color sampler and ruler, simple tools that allow us to pick the color from the image. As you can see, the color is jumping here to my foreground color by default. Color sampler, we can set up some samples on the canvas and they'll stick there, as you can see. And ruler, simply to draw a line. If you got horizon, you can straight your layer automatically to that line you draw. So it's really handy. Let's say this is our horizon. See this dark line here? Straighten to this line, and in addition it flips up because this line is over here. So let me just draw it from another side. Alright, let's draw it like this. Alright. Ruler allows us to draw a line, and then we can even straighten the image to that line. Take a look. I draw the line and then it's straightened to that line. So that can be handy when you've got like horizon that is not nice. You can put the image straight, and also you can crop it out using the trick I showed you before to add some extra background if you need. Alright, let's just jump back for a moment to crop tool, because I almost forget to mention additional tools hidden below, like perspective crop. That would be handy if you got something not in the right perspective, like you take a picture of the paper on the table and then you want to adjust the perspective. Okay, keep in mind I need to confirm, and it will try to flatten up the image for you. In this case, the perspective was already like correct, so nothing to do here. But it's super handy when you got scans and stuff like that. So perspective crop is available. Some people try to do it with crop. There's separate perspective crop for that. There's slice tool that allow us to put slices on our image. Not that common nowadays. We not slice layouts anymore and export them as PNGs like in the 90s. But the slice tool is here. Can be handy if you're designing multiple elements and then want to slice your layout to smaller pieces, and then you can export them separately. So that's something handy while exporting, I would say. All right, now very interesting group. The next group on my list, that's healing tools. So we can use some healing tools like this spot healing brush tool. Let's zoom in a bit. We can use that to alter the image, try to get rid of those unnecessary dirty points in the background here. As you can guess, we can use that on human skin as well. So we are removing some unnecessary stuff. Healing brush tool is very similar, but take a look. It will got the prop that I need to use a source, so I need to specify the source for the replacements. So you can manually pick the source from the image. Magic replace tool, that's really exciting one. That's a brand new addition to the toolset, and that's AI enhanced tool. So if you select the area, you can use the prompt here and you can type something like fly and click replace, and the AI engine will try to put something there for us based on our prompt. Alright, so let's give it a moment, and we got some kind of flying. The thing about AI is you can try multiple times. So I can click again, replace, and the AI must generate a new thing for me. And as you may notice, it's actually blend with the original backdrop really well. So if we zoom in a bit, you see that it's generated content. It's placed on this new backdrop quite well. We even got some kind of shadow going on here. It's really brand new tool, so you can experiment with this yourself. This allows us to replace certain content, and of course we can select a free area and add some extra backdrop. This is one of those generative fill tools you may hear about. So it's already here in our Photopea. It's called Magic Replace. There's a patch tool as well. In that case, you can select the area, click inside it and move it kind of like away to the clear area. Search for the texture from the image you want to use, release, and ta-da, you patch this area. Alright, this content aware move tool, that's interesting. We can kind of select the area of the image and move it somewhere else, and it will adjust to the new surrounding. Take a look. See that? It's adjust to her skin. So the color change, but the object move here. So we're moving something, but it's content aware move. So we don't need to worry that much about the backdrop. Really handy. What next? That's simple red eye tool. We need to mark eyes with that, and they will be a bit desaturated. Take a look. You see, that's gray color. We're just turning red eyes to gray. Really old school tool. Not many problems with red eyes nowadays, huh? All right, under this healing group of tools, there is a brush tool. As you can guess, we can apply colors with different brushes to our image. There's a pencil tool, and pencil tool is not blurry at the edge. As you can see, it's very sharp. You can even make it so small to make a pixel art with it. And there's a color replacement brush. That's the interesting one that tried to do the job for us. So let's try to use that. Let's try to use color replacement over here, and as you can see, it's kind of try to replace the color with the new one I select. I still prefer a manual selection. We could of course protect the backdrop for the better result, but this tool is here and not very good one, I would say. I prefer to change colors indifferently with selections and adjustments, but if you like to work with brushes, it's here for you to use as well. What else? There is a next tool on our list over here. Take a look, clone tool. As you can guess, we cannot use it straight away. We must select the area to clone with Alt or Option key first. So let's clone something here. And then we can stamp this around the image, just like that. So it's like a stamp. All right, there's an eraser tool, actually 3 different versions of that. There's a normal classic raster eraser. We're just erasing pixels to see the layer below. Another one, it's called background eraser. This was interesting one because if you make it big enough, you see this little center of it, the little crosshair in the center. Be sure the crosshair is hitting the backdrop, and take a look. This eraser tool try to erase only backdrop, so that's handy. Keep in mind it must be big enough so the center of the brush is, or center of this eraser tool is on the backdrop. Interesting, right? And the last one, that's magic eraser. So as you can guess, this is some kind of smart tool again to our disposal. And in this case, I'm just clicking and the program tried to pick the whole area, like erasing the whole tile here. Alright, so that's not your classic brush type of eraser, simply like flat eraser. Alright. Erasing is not always the best idea in the Rust editing software. It's destructive, so be careful with eraser. Better use masks instead, alright? That's your eraser tool. Very classic gradient and bucket tool. If you put the gradient like that, keep in mind your gradient on the active layer, not on the area. If you want to gradient only on that area, you must do some kind of selection first and then gradient on that area only, alright? Okay, and that's very same thing, bucket tool again. If I hit the bucket tool without selection, in that case I will be able to put it on the similar color, so it's a little bit better. But again, I suggest to use a separate layer for something very destructive like that. Gradient and bucket tool here. What's next? Blur tool. So we can blur the area. Some people like this on skin because you can blur the skin a little bit. And you got some controls here. Like in the brush tool, you can change the size and the hardness of this tool as well. So this is like for local blurring. We're blurring just a little bit in the small area like that. Alright, and opposite, sharpening. We can do some local sharpening. As you can see, I can make her lips sharper with this. Take a look. Alright, local sharpening. Again, all of the controls like for any other brush. Smudge tool, more for digital artists, I would say. Smudging colors around. Alright, and there's a next tool set, touch tool, as you can see, affecting our color. Burn tool, this time other way around, make it a bit darker, burning the color. And sponge tool, we can sponge the colors as well. Keep in mind, all depends which color did you click in the image. And again, classic controls like for any other brush. Below that we got this big letter T. T stands for typing tool, and by default it's create a new layer for me to type on this brand new layer. If you want to change the color of your text, you must select the text first. You can modify the color from here. You can change the font size or even the font type itself here. Keep in mind, we need to confirm those changes clicking OK. If you refer back to the move tool, we can of course move this element as this is on separate text layer. Special layer just for text. Double click on the letter T in the layer panel and you can edit your text again. Very nice. Let's get rid of this for now. So that's our text tool, but wait a moment. If I click and hold, there's also vertical type tool below. In this case, we can type in the vertical manner just like that. There's a separate tool for that, as you notice. Okay, now we are moving into vector area. So there's a pen tool here. And we can draw a proper vector shape, This is a vector, so we can change the fill color of it from here. Ta-da! Now it's green. That's a proper vector. We can put a stroke around and it will scale up and down without loss of quality. And as you can guess, all the tools below are kind of for the similar reason. We got free pen. It's very similar to pen tool. So you could say we got a few variation of pen tool because all of them are rather similar. The only difference is how we control those tools. All right. This one, for example, is adding nodes to existing line. Next one can delete those nodes from existing shape. And there is also convert point tool when I can convert sharp points to curvy points and other way around. So all of that, it's just a pen tool with different variation. Pen tool is used to draw vector shapes. Below that we got path selection and direct selection. Path selection when we can select the vector shape, and direct selection when we can select the actual node, just one node, move it around, edit. Alright, so that's very much related to the pen tool. Below that, there's a shape tool with rectangles, ellipse. By the way, if drawing the ellipse, you can hold shift for the perfect circle, like this one. What next? There's a line. We can also make triangles. We can decide how many sides we want here. So if I make 3 sides, you can make a triangle, no problem. If I make 8 sides, we can have octane here. So we can decide using a slider at the top. You can change it to star. We can change this to arrow. So that's our shape tool, and luckily for us, all of the shapes are represented by vectors. So all of that are scalable vectors that we can recolor after as well. Very nice. Take a look. I can recolor this vector after I already draw it. And when I'm scaling the vector around, it will be perfectly sharp. Take a look. I zoom in. It's nice and sharp. Alright, it's so messy here. Let me just delete some of those unnecessary elements here. You can delete by clicking on the Move tool and hitting delete on your keyboard, or you can actually select layer and then hit delete on your keyboard. This way you will know that you didn't misselect anything. Alright, we're almost there. Take a look. We are at the bottom of the list now. We just finished with different shapes, and what's next? That's the hand tool and rotate view. Hand tool, as you can guess, allow us to click and kind of move the camera around, like I want to say. So we're moving ourselves around this, but I never use this tool. Why? Because, for example, if I'm using any other tool, like I'm in the brush tool, let's say I'm using brush tool, I want to move myself around, I simply press and hold space bar, and I can pull myself around, release the space bar, and I'm back to brush tool. So I don't need to changing up and down on the tool panel. So this hand tool can be really easily accessed by just holding spacebar on your keyboard. Next one is rotate view. More for digital artists, I would say. You can also reset rotation at the top here. Perfect. Alright, so that's our hand tool, and very similar manner we got zoom tool. We can set it to plus mode or minus mode. I never use it as well. Why is that? I tend to use shortcuts. Command plus to zoom in, Command minus to zoom out. On Windows it will be Control plus, Control minus. Handy trick, Command 0. So you have the perfect fit to your screen. Alright, seems like we just go all over the tool panel, but wait, there's a color below. So that's our foreground color. That's our background color. We can swap them if you click in between them. Easily swap. You can also press X on your keyboard for swapping them. We got a quick mask mode here. And there is also a nice addition. We got virtual keys. So let's say you are working on your iPad without keyboard, or maybe on your phone without keyboard, and you need to select 2 layers same time. You know that how to do it. Normally you just press shift on your keyboard and select both layers, but you're on your iPad without keyboard. You can use this feature. You can just press down the virtual shift. It's down, and now I can select 2 layers. Perfect. So very handy addition. I really like that. That's our tool panel. Keep in mind, some tools got another tools hidden below them. This was a rather brief introduction. We went through so many tools in a short time, so feel free to check my other tutorials and videos about Photopea, and I hope I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye!